Look around you. The smartphone in your hand, the clothes on your back, the coffee on your desk, and the car sitting in your driveway. Nearly 90% of everything you own was once trapped inside a simple corrugated steel box, tossing and turning in the middle of a pitch-black ocean. Before this box existed, the modern world economy was mathematically impossible. Buying a product from halfway across the planet wasn't just expensive, it was a logistical nightmare that could take months. Millions of tons of cargo were loaded by hand, one single barrel, crate, and sack at a time. But in the mid-20th century, a single, incredibly simple invention completely broke the old system. It dropped global shipping costs by a staggering 90%, redrew the map of the global economy, and turned isolated nations into industrial superpowers. How did a plain steel box become the most important piece of mechanical engineering in human history? Let's explore, right here on the Backstory Lab. To understand the genius of the shipping container, we first have to look at the absolute chaos that came before it. For thousands of years, maritime trade relied on a process called break-bulk shipping. Every single item arriving at a port had to be handled individually. If a factory in Ohio wanted to ship 500 crates of machinery to London, those crates were loaded onto a train, unloaded at the New York harbor, placed into a waterfront warehouse, and then manually carried into the ship's hold by a small army of dockworkers called longshoremen. This process was agonizingly slow. A shipping cargo would often spend more time sitting idle at the dock being loaded and unloaded than it actually spent sailing across the ocean. In fact, in the 1940s, the cost of just handling the cargo at the ports accounted for up to 25% of the entire total cost of moving the goods from origin to destination. Worse yet, break-bulk shipping was highly inefficient and insecure. Wooden crates broke open during storms, ruining millions of dollars in merchandise. And because goods sat exposed on open piers for weeks, theft was rampant. Entire shipments of whiskey, silk, and electronics would simply vanish into thin air before the ship ever left the dock. The global economy was choked by a massive bottleneck. Shipping was a luxury reserved only for items that couldn't be found locally. Until a frustrated truck driver from North Carolina had a radical idea. His name was Malcom McLean. In 1937, McLean was a young truck driver sitting in his vehicle at a port, waiting for hours just to have his cargo unloaded so it could be put on a ship. As he watched the agonizingly slow process, he asked himself a simple question. Why can't we just lift the entire trailer of my truck with the cargo still inside it and place it directly onto the boat? McLean didn't just invent a box, he invented a concept known as intermodal transportation. The idea was beautiful in its simplicity, a single standardized container that could move seamlessly between a truck bed, a train car, and an ocean vessel without its contents ever being touched or exposed. In 1956, McLean bought 2 World War II tankers and retrofitted them. On April 26th of that year, his newly designed ship, the Ideal X, departed from New Jersey carrying 56 of his prototype steel containers. The financial data from that single voyage sent shockwaves through the maritime industry. Before the container, loading a medium-sized cargo ship cost roughly $5.83 per ton in 1956 money. With McLean's standardized boxes, that cost plummeted to just 16 cents per ton. It was a staggering 97% reduction in loading costs overnight. Suddenly, the massive bottleneck that had throttled global trade for centuries was completely shattered. At first glance, a shipping container looks like a completely low-tech object. It's just a metal box, right? But underneath that boring exterior lies an incredible feat of hidden mechanical engineering designed to survive the harshest environments on Earth. First, look at the walls. They aren't flat, they're corrugated, meaning they're bent into a continuous wave pattern. If the steel sheet were flat, it would easily buckle under intense pressure. The waves add incredible structural rigidity without adding unnecessary weight, allowing a single container to withstand violent ocean winds and the immense weight of other boxes stacked on top of it. But the absolute secret weapon of the shipping container is located at its 8 corners. These are called corner castings. Every container on Earth features these identical, reinforced steel blocks with specially shaped holes. This single piece of geometric standardization allows crane attachment systems called twistlocks to drop into the holes, rotate 90 degrees, and instantly lock a 30-ton box into place. Because of these uniform corner castings, containers can be stacked up to 9 or 10 levels high on a ship's deck, locked together into a single, unshakable matrix that can survive 40-foot ocean waves and intense geometric twisting forces. By the late 1960s, international committees agreed on strict standard dimensions, creating the TEU, or 20-foot equivalent unit. Because every single box was now exactly the same size, ports all over the world re-engineered their entire infrastructure. Every crane, every truck bed, every train track, and every ship hull was built around the exact same measurements. The world had found its universal language of commerce. The standardization of this simple box completely remade the face of the planet. Before the container, factories had to be located right next to seaports or near the markets they served to avoid domestic transit costs. But because container shipping became incredibly cheap, the physical cost of distance has been practically erased. Right now, as you watch this video, there are over 20 million shipping containers traveling across our oceans, railways, and highways. They are the silent, invisible red blood cells of the global economy, carrying the lifeblood of modern society inside their corrugated steel walls. We often think of progress as a series of complex algorithms, advanced AI, or sleek rockets. But sometimes, the most revolutionary technology isn't complex at all. Sometimes it's just a simple, beautifully standardized box that was smart enough to hold the rest of the world together. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the Backstory Lab.